Okay, let's go back. It was 2010. I had already graduated university 2 years prior, smack bang during a recession. I was working a dead-end job and I was depressed as fuck. Then one day I happened to come across a boxing fight between a little Asian guy beating the shit out of a Puerto Rican. It was Manny Pacquiao versus Miguel Cotto. His fight inside the ring was amazing. His fight outside of the ring was even more so. Here's HBO 24/7 Boxing to give you a better breakdown.
And then he discovered a better way. It nevertheless defies belief that from that boy's forgotten corner of the map, he could reach the very top of the world. That boxing could turn a man into a miracle.
So I started boxing. I was 60 kilos soaking wet, shit cardio and had neither technique nor power. But I didn't care. I just enjoyed it. Long story short, life eventually did get a lot better. In fact, I've been to the Philippines a bunch of times now. Initially I thought the Philippines would be more like Hawaii. The reality was much more of a shock. How on earth did Manny Pacquiao ever make it out of this place? He said he only started boxing because win or lose, you still get paid 100 pesos. 4 pesos can buy you 1 kilo of rice. That's enough to take care of your whole family. At the time, the only thing I knew about the Philippines was that they were devoted Catholics, their lechon were amazing, and their politics are super corrupt, so it sounded like a pretty cool place to check out. I ended up marrying a Filipina. She's from Cebu. It's one of the main islands where I was staying. Temperature gets way over 30 degrees here. Traffic is chaotic, and there are a few boxing gyms here with international champions. My bucket list was to do some boxing here, maybe one day get to run with Manny and his entourage. He lives on another island though, and is probably busy with politics or spending his time in America. This was as close as I got, unfortunately. Cardboard cutout. Apart from church on Sunday, the locals like to go and watch cockfighting. They call it Sabong Manok. I stuck out like a sore thumb. We'd often spend a lot of our time in the mega malls, but I did try out some martial arts. Eskrima, stick fighting. This was their traditional weapon combat system. The instructor told me a lot of the footwork and attacks at angled at 45. Also joked that here in Cebu, they might just shoot you with a 45 instead. So this was back in 2018, pre-pandemic. The gym was called Ala Boxing. It was known to have a few champions here, the most famous one being 4-weight class champion Don Nietes. The way these gyms work is they're walk-ins, no booking needed. Now, to be honest, the first time I trained here, I wasn't really looking for any boxing tips or training techniques. I just wanted to hit some mitts. In the Philippines, and I think most of Asia, you get your own pad holder. This is good because it means you're not going to get a novice timid pad holder, and they can call out the combos, and if you mess up, they've seen it all. They can evade your shitty strikes. Unlike the gym classes we have here in New Zealand, where the instructor shows you a technique, then we pair up and take turns holding pads while the other one boxes. I film myself sometimes so I can go back to it and see if I got any better. This was actually filmed before my Muay Thai trip to Thailand, although I would find that boxing and Muay Thai are quite different in terms of their rhythm, footwork, defenses, and even some punches. Now to be clear, these walk-ins are structured to be more like a one-on-one fitness class. Don't think coming here you'll be training for a fight, or be getting technical instructions unless you really ask them to. Unfortunately, the next time I came back to the Philippines, Ala Boxing was no more. But a few of the trainers ended up in another gym called Zip Boxing. Luckily, just 10 minutes from where I was staying. By now, I'm into my late 30s. I didn't care for fitness. I only really cared about picking up some techniques that I might not have seen. Luckily, they just chucked me onto one of those self-running treadmills. I remember seeing one of these on Physical 100 Challenge, so I thought, how hard could this be? Turns out, it's pretty damn hard.
헬스장에 있는 트레드밀의 한 1.5배 정도는 이게 더 힘든 것 같더라고.
So if this was my first session, most Filipinos have pretty good English, but there's still a little bit of a language barrier, so there's a little bit of miscommunication. But that's okay, because boxing is kind of a universal language. So, he'll call out jab, cross, hook, uppercut. So you'll occasionally see me miss a few hooks every time I finish like a jab cross by mistake. What I also like about this session is that he gets me moving on my feet a bit, so I get to either move around or pivot off my step. Yeah, there you can see me missing my hook, and also yeah, just like throwing punches to my head just to keep my guard up. Occasionally you'll see me move back a bit, bounce on the ball of my feet. It's just my way of resetting. So I like this combo a lot. This is the jab, cross, slip, cross. It offers an offensive, defensive, and a counter and head movement. So these punches really kill me, like uppercuts and this overhand right. I don't know what it is, but it just drains a lot of energy. Like a simple jab and a cross just seems to be way more efficient on energy. If he calls out a combination I'm not too familiar with, I'll just slow it down at the start, and then the second time we'll go a little bit faster, and a little bit faster, and then eventually we'll get it. I like what he's doing here. He's just getting me moving, keeping me on the back foot, and what he wants me to do here is step back for the body shot and then counter with the straight right, and that's it. Good session. This is my second session. This instructor is pretty good, so if he notices anything wrong, he'll try to correct my technique. So he's correcting my cross. He's telling me to turn my back foot when I go to throw it, and also incorporate like more trunk and like faster shoulder movement to counter. Here he's telling me my hook needs to be shorter. The shoulder and the elbow should be at the same height. The way I throw it is more like a shovel hook. Personally, I prefer throwing my hook with the thumb facing up, but there are benefits to the short hook, especially in boxing. And here he's introducing a bit more of weaving after a combination. I quite like this as well, just getting me to circle, being on the balls of my feet, moving around, keeping my guard up. I asked him before we started the session, can we work on some defense? I don't normally do slipping, bobbing and weaving, since I'm so used to hitting the heavy bag. I don't expect shots to come back at me, but incorporating head movement is a great asset to add to your game. He's telling me when you go to slip, bob and weave, your legs shouldn't be out of position. You can be in the same spot. It's all in the trunk movement, and most importantly, balance. So occasionally I slip right into his mitt, but I do enjoy these defensive techniques because when you first start off boxing, a lot of it's just learning how to throw a punch, and once you learn the defensive stuff, you can combine the two and you have a great counter that goes with it. Here he's explained to me about balance. My feet should never leave the ground, and also after the session was over, he actually explained to me about how I have my lead foot pointing towards him. A good proper boxing stance actually requires to have your foot turn inward more at a 45-degree angle, giving you good balance. And that doesn't matter what punch you're throwing. So my uppercuts aren't that great, and you'll see soon why it isn't, and I'll try to explain a little bit better. So in our next session, we'll see how he tries to correct me the best way possible. Yeah, I love these trainers. They know how to avoid shitty punches thrown at them. He's like, yeah, fuck this. Alright. So this is my third session. Apologies for the camera setup. I was in a bit of a rush. In this session, I want to work a little bit more on my hook. Just trying to keep it parallel to the ground. Also trying out different types of hooks. Maybe wider ones, or having a thumb pointing up, or the thumb pointing more directly at my chest. So, okay, see my uppercuts here. I lean way too forward, and he's just tricked me on the head there. He's like, no, you don't do that. Stay there, angle out, and then throw it. But I keep stepping forward. See my front foot going there. Now I'm like, okay, I don't want to get hit in the head anymore. I'm trying to put my glove to protect my head. And what he's trying to say is, twist your torso. It's more about twisting your torso and your legs, generating power off your legs, and then bringing the uppercut up. So you're almost like springing off your legs. And I'm still not getting it. So then he points to my foot, and I'm like, do I step forward? And he's like, no. Stay there. And it's all just torso and leg movement. Torso, leg, and hips. So yeah, see, like kind of bend down a bit and then throw the uppercut. A good uppercut, the power doesn't come from the arms, it actually comes from the legs and the power it generates off of it. Here he picks up on something quite interesting, is that I'm leading with my head, so it's keeping me a little bit off balance. So he exaggerates a little bit there, but essentially what he wants is just my back foot to twist to generate the shot, and front of my torso to be upright. I don't lean in with my face first and then throw the punch, just throw the punch. Here we're working on a little bit more defense. This is just like blocking punches and just kind of getting a little bit used to getting hits from back at you. Bobbing and weaving, you know, like I thought I was doing it alright, but looking back at this video, to get a better bob and weave, don't bend down at the waist, but it's more about bending down on your legs. I'm pretty tired by this session, and what I start to notice is that a lot of my structural defense, such as like keeping my chin down, keeping my gloves up, a lot of that starts to kind of disappear. Like, and even bending down to throw like a power punch, like this uppercut, like I'm still just way too tall. There's not much power that's coming from the hips. It's mainly just arm punches. But yeah, I feel like I'm just going through the motions here, and I feel like by now he just really wants to just tire me out. So everything just feels like power punches. But you know, this is a really nice combo though. I really do enjoy. Just I don't mind throwing combination 20 times, you know, and then you know we might mix it up with a bit of slipping, bobbing, and weaving, you know, and just moving off the back foot. Yeah, so I thought he meant like do the shoulder roll, like Floyd Mayweather style, the Philly shell, but now he's just like, no, I want you to throw more uppercuts. So more or less uppercuts are not that good, and like I said, uppercuts just drain me so much. You know, although I wasn't really that fit when I came into those anyway. That's good though. Like when he's telling me just move, pop, jump around a bit, get those legs, you know, shake them up a bit. You shouldn't be so stagnant in boxing. There's lots of movement. What I actually wanted to work on a bit more would have been distance control, getting into the pocket and then fighting from the outside as well. He's demonstrating the bobbing and weaving, and also just like all the defenses we've been going through. So just slipping punches, bob weave, and then pivoting out. The thing is you always want to be facing your opponent as well. Then finish with combo. The trickiest thing, believe it or not, is actually throwing punches and moving forward at the same time. And just a reminder, if you haven't thrown a combination before, just throw it slower. And when you get it, just increase the speed. That's simple. This combo I actually ended up liking quite a lot. The uppercut, hook, straight. So that's pretty much my last boxing session in the Philippines. Started off with just a basic jab, cross, hook, gradually built up to mixing in uppercuts and overhands. We got into some basic defenses like slipping, bobbing and weaving, and pivoting with counters. If I would have kept going, I would have liked to have worked more on my footwork and angles. Stuff like the L step and V stepping, Diamato shift that Lomachenko could do, parrying punches, feinting, and doing a nice check hook. That's really the beauty of boxing, isn't it? That you can hit, not get hit, and counter back. It's a real craft. If you're planning to do some walk-in boxing, just realize it's mainly a one-on-one PT class. Doesn't matter what your level is, they can catch all your shitty punches. If you're looking for more sound advice though, you'll have to explain that to the trainer beforehand and ask them specifically what you want to work on. Otherwise, they'll just treat you like everyone else. Key takeaways: balance. Gotta have good footwork. Chin down, guard up, eyes on the opponent at all times, slip on the outside, and don't lunge or lead into your face. Boxing had a very positive impact in my life. I hope whoever's watching this it will do the same for you too. Thank you for all my subscribers, all 39 of you. Remember, you guys can always leave a comment if you got any questions, and now I leave you with some words of wisdom.
More people don't know shit about boxing. at all, period.